How many times have you seen a profile picture of somebody and then you met them and you're having to squint your eyes wondering what is going on? How many times has somebody said something that they are maybe achieved or they're doing and you meet them and it's a completely different career that they're actually doing as opposed to the one that they listed on the dating app? Why are we doing that? Why are we covering up what is true about us? Because we're frightened of rejection, we want to be accepted, and we want to be approved. Just like the mutants, just like the superheroes, just like the tortured superheroes, just like men on a dating app and women on a dating app. Hello and welcome to the Tortured Superhero series. My name is Desiree Shaw. I'm a psychotherapist and I vlog about mental health with a particular keen interest in men's mental health. I'm on a mission to make the world a better place and change it one thought at a time and make therapy accessible. The dating game. Is it the dating game or dating gaming? The tortured superhero. So I link the tortured superhero to the problems and difficulties of men. As men do not talk about their feelings. They do not express how they feel. It's been a common factor that men suppress their emotions. So in this episode, I'm going to be talking about dating, the ugly truth. The problems that you might find yourself in as a man or a woman, but with a particular focus on the behaviours and acts of dating which can cause emotional discord. So imagine tortured superheroes. We've been talking about Spider-Man, Hulk. I've even brought Bruce Lee into the mix because he is a superhero as far as I'm concerned. But the superheroes, they're human, aren't they? Even though they're superheroes, they may be seen as mutants, but they still have a degree of human about them. So superheroes date too. We've got Jean and Cyclops with the eyes. And we got Wolverine to the mix. We got a little triangle menage a trois thing going on. We got Spider-Man and Mary Jane. We got quite a few happening. And how do they do it? I mean, imagine the superheroes had a dating app. Imagine what they would put in as their most effective power. Because that's what you do on a dating app, isn't it? You list your most interesting assets. You wouldn't talk about that thing that you do that you don't want anybody else to know, you know. I suppose Cyclops wouldn't put in his profile that if he removes his glasses, he will literally laser and burn everything down. That could be a turn off, wouldn't it? Okay, and the Hulk, I turn green. It's not something that you're going to say that you actually do. So dating apps, do they allow you to be a real person? No, they don't. Unfortunately, we live in a world where everything is technology and super duper fast. How does that affect us as people? Well, it affects us a great deal, okay? When a person logs onto a dating app, the issue there is that the expectation is that something is going to happen. So men and women both use dating apps a lot. We don't know if Spider-Man or the Hulk or Wolverine would use a dating app, but if they did, I'm sure they would come across very similar problems. So I'm going to talk about the ugly truth of dating. Because dating on the dating apps can be particularly difficult. So if you are dating and you are a tortured superhero and you're wondering what is going on, how can you manage dating? How can you manage dealing with those apps and those profiles? So rule number one, whatever you see on a dating app isn't exactly true, okay? Dating apps have a really nice way of lying to you. People don't show their true selves. How many times have you seen a profile picture of somebody and then you met them and you're having to squint your eyes wondering what is going on? How many times has somebody said something that they are maybe achieved or they're doing and you meet them and it's a completely different career that they're actually doing as opposed to the one that they listed on the dating app? Why are we doing that? Why are we covering up what is true about us? Because We're frightened of rejection, we want to be accepted, and we want to be approved. Just like the mutants, just like the superheroes, just like the tortured superheroes, just like men on a dating app and women on a dating app. So let's look at the ugly truth of a dating app, just so that, well, not the ugly truth of a dating app, but the ugly truth of dating on a dating app. The first thing that happens on a dating app, which is really common, is cookie jarring. So, for example, let's say you are a superhero and you log on to a dating app. And your job is to find, you want to swipe, is it swipe left? You leave them, swipe right, and it's right. It's a bit of a very harsh way of dealing with humans, okay? We are people after all, and we are basically magnified and noticed by a simple swipe, which I don't know if that sits well with you. But anyway, somebody swipes right and they put you in their cookie jar. What is the cookie jar? So the cookie jar is a bit of a backup plan. So when you walk into a dating app situation, recognize that you could be walking into somebody's cookie jar because they could be putting you in the cookie jar. And that is a place where they store you. It's like a storage facility. And while they're in the middle of having a nibble on a different cookie, you're in the cookie jar. Maybe they'll take you out. And you have to recognize if you want to be in the cookie jar. How do you know if you're in the cookie jar? I'll tell you that in another video. But the cookie jar is very important to recognize, and it happens. Men do it to women and women do it to men, and it can cause an amount of anxiety and stress because you don't know what's happening. Another ugly truth of dating, ghosting. Now, if you were a superhero, being ghosted would actually be a little bit impossible. Ghosting for the average man. This is where somebody just disappears. And this could be really hurtful because when somebody just disappears, you don't know why they left in the first place. You just don't know. You don't know why they left. All you can do is make up reasons for them leaving. Imagine the stress and strain and the humiliation of being ghosted. Now, the only way to come out of being ghosted is by doing really well, looking really good, in the hope that you see that person that ghosted you so that they now want to know you again, so you get the upper hand and you get to ghost them. This is when the ugly truth about dating becomes a game. It becomes like playing Nintendo. For those of you who remember Nintendo, those of you who don't, it's like playing PlayStation. Then you've got orbiting. And orbiting is when you make yourself known. So it's a little bit like, when Spider-Man used to hang around Mary J just to let her know that he was around, orbiting, I'm around, pick me, right? This is another thing that happens. It's a part of the ugly truth of dating on the dating apps, just saying hi. That is a massive thing. So notice when that happens, okay? Breadcrumbing. This is when you're sending texts, the ambiguous chat that you may be interested, you might not be, okay? It's not a nice place to be. It's feeding somebody something that isn't going to happen, but you want to keep them there. It's like putting them in a cookie jar, but not quite. Benching is very much the same as cookie jarring and breadcrumbing. So when you're being in the cookie jar, you're there, they'll take you out when they want to. But benching is still feeding you a bit of a line, a bit of a hope, a bit of an idea that maybe it might be your chance. So this is the ugly truth of dating. Now, what does this do for you? Well, it can cause you a lot of pain and a lot of stress. What happened to the conventional way of dating? Out the window. I mean, people don't have time to meet anymore, so being online makes it easier. This video has been created to support you to recognize what can happen when you are dating online. Being a tortured superhero, you can have a tortured experience of dating. How would you know what to list? What are your best assets? And how come we're only talking about what is great about us? Why aren't we talking about what's mediocre and what is simple? The problem is nobody wants to be honest, because honesty, there is a high chance of rejection and nobody wants to be swiped left. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Desiree Shaw. Bye for now.
That's right.
Good afternoon and welcome to Dating Plus. How to date effectively. Dating game. Terrible truth. Alright, tell me when you're ready. We got Cyclops and Jean. We got yeah, this is the cough. Just add cough in there. Add cough. Cyclops. Sorry. That's basically somebody feeding you a line. And as they feed you a line, yawn.
I'm tired, I'm sorry.
I feel like I'm on the news. No, they do it on the news.